This is the Ruckus and the Menace.
Challenge accepted. No.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
There you go. There it is.
There's a winner. Look at that.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you,
How's it going, Ruckus and the Menace fam? You are watching the actual episode 150 this time of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. I'm Spanish the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always customer Ruckus. It's actually episode number 160. We jumped another 10 episodes. This is not a joke. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up. Shut up. Don't judge me for my boneheaded thinking. On this episode, we have the starting lineup where we talk about some notable quick takes, lights, camera, action, where we discuss some things outside of the content realms that we are working on. The good, the bad, and the ugly. A double dose of the high heat as major sport headlines have come along throughout this week as Major League Baseball is getting ready for its trade deadline, and we begin our first sessions of the NFL previews. We get into the power rankings, where there will be a fun category about franchises of films. And we wrap up with our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, have we been holding up?
Oh, good. Last week, we missed the whole passing of Ozzy Osbourne, and
Yep.
and
We can
Spanish,
get right straight into that.
let me into that point. Point of that me bringing that up is because when I told Spanish we should add Mr. Crowley, he didn't know who the hell I was talking about, and then he face
I knew
palmed.
that Ozzy did the song. I knew that Ozzy did the song. I did not realize that when he was talking about Mr. Crowley in this case, that he was actually directly talking about Ozzy.
Yep. All right.
Bit of a difference there, Ruckus.
Okay.
A little bit of a difference.
Do you want me to keep going with this?
Well, now that we continue on to brass tacks, along with that, unfortunately, we have to continue to say our prayers and eat our vitamins without Hulkamania.
Oh,
Hulk Hogan has
brother.
passed away today.
Brother. Rip Terry.
Well, Hulkamania now can run wild 6 feet under. Thank you, Undertaker.
Bong.
Well, unfortunately, this episode, death comes in threes as really just the other day, Ryne Sandberg, most notably of the Chicago Cubs, passes away at 65. And one of the final year, this was kind of the final year he got to be around spring training, and a notable MLB second baseman that is now the manager of the Cubs, Craig Counsell, kind of took a great perspective in talking about Sandberg.
He's a weapon in MLB The Show, that's for sure.
Ryne Sandberg, every single Ryne Sandberg card has been really interesting because great speed, can field, can hit. I've enjoyed using Ryne Sandberg cards. And some notable things in LA basketball. on the women's side, Cameron Brink, also known as the god sister of Stephen Curry, is set to return from her torn ACL soon. And Luka Doncic graces the cover of Men's Health with a new slimmed down look. Did you see any of the pictures of how shredded he is right now?
Yep, and it was something that the Mavericks were not willing to deal with.
Things end up bigger in Texas, but we weren't expecting the size of Luka Doncic to be that way.
Is it too soon when I said that? Or is it perfect timing because it was last season and no one really cares?
It was perfect timing for me to say that. He's been in LA long enough to know that he was going to have to slim down.
Good job, Spanish.
The most notable extension that has gone on, it's not the Commanders and Scary Terry. It's the Broncos and Cortland Sutton reaching a 4-year, $92 million extension, which for the health of the Broncos offense, I like it.
We'll see.
And Ruckus, go ahead and hit us with that channel news.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Ruckus and the Menace. And here at Ruckus and the Menace, we talk sports, we talk everything else that we like to talk about. But one big thing that has happened is we have hit the 40 subscriber mark. And I believe that was today we hit that. So thank you for that. Also, round of applause and a pat on the back for Spennis and I, as we've been doing this show for almost about 3 years now. And this year has not been easy. Just trying to figure things out and just structure the podcast the way we wanted to do it instead of turning it into something that kind of looked a little rough around the edges of the past couple weeks. I think we've turned a corner into something a lot greater.
I think we've stretched ourselves to the point that this is now this is now an even healthier, benefit. I mean, granted, yeah, you could say it hasn't been easy, but at the same time, we've been picking up a lot more traction than what we've normally been used to.
Yeah, it used to be kind of depressing back in the day. We were just like, yay, we're still at 30 subs, and nothing has moved.
I was saying, we would get traction on videos, even some of our side content. It's outside of just the podcast episodes, we'd have traction somewhere, but then there was a lot of inconsistency that came along with it.
Yeah,
I think Road to the Show, my longest series of this entire thing, has picked up a lot more traction than what I was even thinking of.
And I'm glad for that, because that would have been.
And Challenge Accepted has stretched us out. And Ruckus, have we officially put ourselves into the point where we can reveal our teams for the Super Bowl run coming up next month, or within the next month or so, or are you still on hold about that?
As a Dirty Chiefs fan, I think it'd be very interesting to see how I react playing as a division rival that is more so hated more than the Broncos, and the cat's out of the bag. I'm playing as the Raiders for the Super Bowl race this year. I'll be playing as Geno Smith. I have a tight end and Brock Bowers, I believe. And then you got the newly acquired rookie straight out of Boise. I was thinking of Baton Rouge, but I was like, that's not right. I was thinking Boise State.
Yeah, it's straight off the Smurf turf.
I think we'll just see how that goes. Obviously, the Raiders have had some stuff happen recently that we'll talk about later, but yeah, I'm happy to announce I am going to be playing as the Las Vegas Raiders, whether that's me hate playing it or just screwing around. We'll see what happens.
You will be hearing about my team. Not You'll unveil it.
Can you repeat that, please? Because I don't think anyone heard what you just said.
Unveiling my team right now. It's going to get unveiled at some point in this episode.
Okay. All right, lights, camera, action.
Yep.
So
This
pretty much,
is the segment where we get to talk about some things that are outside of content related that we are watching or playing during this segment here. And I will let you roll.
All right, so I've been still kind of hit or miss on Mr. Robot nowadays. Season 2 dragged on a lot. Like, they're trying to get a lot of plot points of different characters. But this weekend, or past weekend, I watched Happy Gilmore 2 on Friday night. Then I watched it again Saturday because I was trying to remember what the hell happened in between. Because, yeah, Happy Gilmore 2 was that weird. And then the new South Park came out, and if you haven't seen the sneak peek where they show the depiction of Donald Trump as like the new swing in for Saddam Hussein in a sense. So if you ever saw the old cartoons where they're in hell or whatever, and he's in bed with Satan, he's like, "Come on, Satan," and he's like, "I don't want to right now." He uses that same voice for Trump, and it's kind of hilarious how they did all of that. But also just the way that Trey Parker and Matt Stone creatively made jokes in the show that kind of signified, hey, this is like what the world is right now. It's kind of a scary place, but it can be great in certain parts. The greatness being less censored, I guess, and more so just straight and to the point rather than worrying about the wokeness involved and all of that, I guess.
Isn't that just the nature of South Park as it is?
Well, I mean, here's the deal with the past few seasons of the South Park. They didn't have very many of them, and when they did, they had like little specials, and that was probably mainly due to the contract stuff with HBO Max and HBO Go at the time, whenever they had that whole contract thing, and now they're with Paramount Plus for $1.5 billion. I think it was a matter of publishing and just distribution, I guess, for the show as it like in the last couple of years, but also they've gone like woke to the point, or I don't know if woke is the great description of that, but too serious. Like most of the time, South Park, you're just there to like get a good laugh and like forget about the crappy day you might have had or the tiring day you had, and you're just wanting to get ready for the night and then go to bed later. But like this new episode of South Park brought back to life what South Park originally should have been, where it's like grounded. There's not a whole lot of rules, but there still are some rules.
Okay. So,
anyways, that's about it for me.
Yeah, you really haven't been playing anything new. You're waiting for a bunch of new stuff that's coming a long way. As for me, my wife and I have been watching. She kind of started it, and then I kind of hopped in like as it was going along, and then I just kind of picked up the intrigue along the way on it. And it is the show called Building the Band, which this was kind of one of the last major things that Liam of One Direction had before he had taken his before his passing. For Liam Payne, who of course passed away back in October. And that, so he had that. This was a series that was about, they started out in the booths, and they completely blindly would choose each other to eventually form these pop style bands. Ultimately, seeing how their chemistry and vocals kind of work, and all the other things that are involved with that work together. So it's kind of another competitive music show, but the concept is different for the beginning, where they more so just like they develop it based on likes in a studio, like hearing them in studio sound, and then seeing how these bands eventually form and come together. And then we will have a new season of the challenge this week for us to start. I watched episode 0 of the new season on my own, which is kind of that episode that really leads into this new season, talking of MTV's The Challenge of Vets and New Threats. I have been a diehard fan of the challenge for quite some time. CT Pro Tip: challenge episode seasons are on Paramount Plus. I also did finish Quarterback, and it ended very anticlimactically, especially with knowing all of, like, even the knowing of it all. I like how Perko handled his benching.
Yeah, because like his
How
wife
he
was
bench-
devastated whenever she heard the news.
Oh yeah, Julie was devastated, but Perko, he saw it as kind of like that little rant, like this is a new season. And we will talk more about Atlanta and the Falcons at that point, but this showed even more that Jared Goff is like a much deeper dive. That was the Hard Knocks in Detroit. That kind of took like a little bit of a dive into what Dan Campbell was doing. I think that Quarterback, and seeing it from Jared Goff's perspective, ultimately I think like launched it even, and over these last 2 years with Amon Ra doing receiver and Jared Goff doing quarterback, we're seeing the true fruits of Dan Campbell's work on display in a more behind the curtain kind of way.
I liked that aspect of it.
Also, Burrow is a very interesting person. He's not quite the Dos Equis guy in saying that he's the most interesting man in the world. He is a very interesting character.
I think he's kind of dull around the edges, though. Like the way he like speaks and stuff is, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. He's just kind of like, yeah, I decided to buy a Batmobile, and then like he'll be like, after that he was like, I think it was like 4 episodes later, it's like, oh, my house got broken into after all this shit that I've been dealing with throughout the whole season. All of a sudden, my house gets broken into. I guess Batmobile isn't the smart move right now. Like, that's literally his voice. I mean, granted, I have kind of something monotone like that too, but
The thing is not like, if you're looking for pure entertainment value and just the expressive personality, Burrow is not that. As far as with his speech, and with his demeanor. It is the style. His what he wears is more of that. Is more of the expression of Burrow. It's not like Cam Newton where you have the flashy outfit and the cocky personality to match. Burrow on the field does have an intensity, but a very quiet intensity. It's more of a quiet intensity that's locked in, while his style brings the vibrance out. And I can get a good bit behind Joe Burrow's vibe. He at least showed to me that he is a likable quarterback in that regard. I still think my favorite out of this series is Goff. And Kirk Cousins is still likable to me, even with everything going on.
I like the drive-through scenes when they go what was it?
Cookout. It was a cookout. It was a cookout. And
There was that one point where the kid was like, "Stop singing."
I love the stuff involving Kirk's brother and two of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Where they
did the '80s workout stuff.
It was so much fun. That is a squad you gotta be around. If you see that squad around, it's you kind of have to be there to actually understand it. And with that said, we now can move on to the good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right. So, what is good in the world this week, Mr. Spennis?
I'm going to say that the good here more so is in the world of the Cincinnati Bengals, to an extent. Their defensive ends that they have been struggling to get into camp and do things. Looks like Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson have both signed, Trey Hendrickson has ended his holdout, and Cincinnati finally got a contract for Shamar Stewart. And this is good because where is the biggest mistreatment been? The defense. They've been so focused on investing into Joe Burrow in the offense that it's as if Trey Hendrickson has been chopped liver. And hopefully they can come close to some sort of deal taking shape. Also, Terry McLaurin reported to camp, which is kind of good for my Commanders. He's on the pup list with an ankle injury, but...
Is Debo at camp? Debo Samuel?
He was there.
Okay. I didn't know how far along he was in his recovery. That's why I asked.
Oh, Debo, I think Debo's fine now.
All right, be ready for me to.
He'd probably be looking over there at DB saying, "That's my bite."
Okay. So do you want me to do the skit?
What are we moving to, the bad now, or are you trying to?
Yes, the bad.
Yeah, let's move over to the bad.
All right. So, you know how there's been the talks about the salary cap happening to the MLB and Manfred's. I feel like that's one of Manfred's last things he wanted to do, right? Was add the salary cap.
It's one of his big things. It's one of his big things, and ultimately, if you really consider it, the salary cap should be good in baseball.
Here's my question. How do you regulate it? Do you go based off of the salaries or like the market value in those areas that have those teams, or do you kind of do a more policed way of what is happening now in the league, where, or has been happening, I should say, where the teams with the big budgets are held down to a certain salary cap constraint?
Luxury tax. I would say it's almost like the healthiest way to do this. I would say a structure very similar to the NBA. I think the NBA and their salary cap style is the closest thing to what Major League Baseball should do.
Yep.
I think there's going to be a little bit of twist, a little bit of wrinkles you got to figure out, especially because there's double the players, so it's probably going to be higher numbers. But I think that the NBA is the closest to the right track.
Yeah.
Compared to the NFL.
So, with that context out of the way, with there being a possible salary cap, if you have a salary cap, you're limited to how much you can spend on players. Well, the MLB has had a rich history in the past, I don't know, forever, making it to where teams will pay players ridiculous amounts of money that are like super. I don't know if you would say super inflated contracts, but it's a big thing. And Bryce Harper is one of those big guys that got a big contract with the Phillies years ago. Well, he had some not so nice things to say to Mr. Manfred, a man that has been pretty controversial as of late. Well, really for a while now. Not a lot of people liked him. The whole walkout they were having or whatever in 2021 wasn't the greatest look. But Bryce Harper sets it straight. Or really, he sends a message to Manfred, getting into a shouting match over the salary cap. Pretty much telling him to kick rocks, but with some F-bombs and probably some potential flinging of chairs or just pure anger coming out of Bryce Harper. He was probably doing his best Hulk Hogan impression as well.
Or Bobby Knight. If you consider the player, the agent, who is the representative of Bryce Harper, follow this up in a very Yoda-like statement. Surprised I am not.
For context, Phillies star Bryce Harper stood nose to nose with Rob Manfred during a meeting between the Major League Baseball commissioner, telling him to get out of the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Get out of here!
If you're also figuring out the context of why I say I am not surprised by considering the agent that Bryce Harper
Scott
has.
Boras.
He is a Scott Boras He is a Scott Boras player.
And also, Scott Boras is notorious for screwing up the continuum of players' careers by trying to get big contracts. Jordan Montgomery is one of those guys. Yep. But in general,
was Blake Snell in that? I think Blake Snell was in that too.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that was with the Giants, because he was traded to the Padres. But whenever it was like, wasn't it the season that they lost the World Series? The Rays did, that they traded Snellzilla to the Padres.
I think they let Snell go. Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's kind of hurt baseball in a way where you have all these contract talks rather than just focusing on getting in shape and getting ready for the season. Yeah, money and financial structuring is freaking awesome. I wouldn't put my worst enemy into not having a financial blanket of having stuff. I mean, you got to make money somehow. You got to make a living. That's all we all have to do. But yeah, I loved what Bryce Harper said. He wasn't afraid to tell his boss, in a sense, of the whole league to get the fuck out of the clubhouse. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah, but I think it was entirely. I think that there's a degree where it gets absolutely uncalled for.
Correct.
There is a fine line. I need to be the bad guy here, but Bryce Harper did cross it. I think he crossed it a little too much in saying that I don't even think Manfred was initially going to talk about salary cap at that point. I don't think he had been trying to meet with teams in a sense of kind of having some good, like, to try and restore a little bit of good faith with the players. I mean, and even MLBPA Tony Clark, like upper management guy Tony Clark, is also saying that this was having a salary cap was considered institutionalized collusion. I'm like, every other league in the Big Four has a salary cap. I believe even the MLS technically has a salary cap. Just because Major League Baseball is the one sport that does not have it, there have been benefits to the salary cap. And sorry. I see where the commissioner is going, where the commissioner wants to go, where fans can kind of see maybe some parity in the league potentially form itself. Granted, maybe not in the short term, but the longer run. Look at what the NFL's had with their salary cap and all of their different things that they can do. It's made it it's made the league feel more balanced. Just because you want to make a crap ton of money or already are making a crap ton of money, Bryce Harper, does not mean that everything is operating in the way you want it to go. Quit being a big baby, hit big balls, and continue to earn the keep that you're already currently making. I know you're trying to help out your fellow men, but at the same time, salary caps do allow players to get the bag.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be your size bag that you have right now, but still a bag.
All right. Speaking of bags, or just in general hijinks, what's the ugly this week?
This week, the shooting in Manhattan. The New York City shooter the other day, a gunman had killed 4 people before taking his own life trying to target the headquarters of the NFL, but ended up taking the wrong elevator. He was trying to get to the NFL offices after shooting people in the lobby and accidentally entering the wrong set of beds. With this, a note was found in the shooter's wallet suggesting that he had a grievance against the NFL over a claim that he suffered from CTE, the degenerative brain disease linked to concussions and head trauma. It can only be diagnosed after someone has died. In the note, he repeatedly said he was sorry and he asked for his brain to be studied. The note also referenced Terry Long, who was diagnosed with CTE, and in the manner of which Long took his own life in 2005. The note also accused the NFL of concealing the dangers to players' brains for profit. The New York Post also reported that the note mentioned the League of Denial, a PBS documentary about concussions in the NFL, and an apparent reference to the Finaru brothers, who had wrote a book alongside the documentary, and also mentioned several prominent doctors who have studied concussions. The NFL had a long history of denial between football and CTE. And of course, this being an unspeakable act of violence against the NFL in their building. And there will be an increased security presence there. And this whole situation involving the NFL, concussions, and a shooter getting in, granted going the wrong way, knowing that there was a target set out for the NFL. Kind of a little scary and a very ugly situation when you really put it into perspective.
All right. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that.
Okay, so with that said, we now can move on to the first half of our segment called the High Heat. These are considered major topics that we have in sports. This is an old Ruckus and the Menace staple. And we have a double dose of it, as we have not had this for a while.
Can I rattle off the trade stuff first, and then we can get to the our predictions for the NFL?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to introduce it. I was going to introduce it with, up first is the MLB trade deadline. These are the deals noteworthy that were done before July 31st, which is this coming Thursday. We will review deals that happened at the deadline on the next episode of Ruckus and the Menace. Take it away.
All right. So, main things of note. So the Mariners last week, or no, it was Monday, I believe, when the trade came out, that Josh Naylor was traded from the Diamondbacks to the Mariners. And, of course, the Mariners needed another power bat besides Cal Raleigh just carrying the whole team. But that's good for Naylor and the Mariners, good for them. The Mets getting handed Gregory Soto from the Baltimore Orioles, in a sense. I think that's good for the Mets. We'll just see how that help goes for him. The Yankees getting Ryan McMahon from the Rockies and Ahmed Rosario from the Nationals. I think that's some good moves there. It helps your bench a little bit when it comes to getting good talent there. Ryan McMahon, he's kind of a hit or miss talent, but he has shown slices of success in the past with his power and his fielding. And Rosario, on the other hand, is more so just like the guy that gets on base or tries to, and also has a little bit of pop in his bat. And then the Royals, they get Randall Grichuk from the Diamondbacks for Andrew Hoffman, and then Adam Frazier was traded from the Pirates to the Royals for... trying to think of the other guy that got traded, but nonetheless... Cam Devaney, of the prospect of the Royals, was traded to the Pirates for Adam Frazier. And so far, Adam Frazier's been kind of quiet. I mean, he did have a good clutch hit in the Marlins series a week ago, but Grichuk was looking all right so far. Frazier, kind of just that bench guy. And then the Braves, they get Eric Fetty and Carlos Carrasco after getting Dane Dunning. What?
You said Eric Petty, so what did I follow it up with? What?
I could have sworn Carlos Carrasco was designated for assignment by the Yankees a long time ago, but I guess they kept him just in case someone fell off.
Case, yeah. And then the Braves also getting Dane Dunning.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Braves. We'll see how that goes. Danny Jansen to the Brewers.
Bolstering their pitching rotation.
And then Danny Jansen to the Brewers, which I think is all right. I mean, you get an extra catcher for the Brewers in case William Contreras gets hurt, or you just want an extra bat. Chris Paddock to the Tigers. Sorry.
And that same deal, I think, also sent a catcher from the Marlins to the Rays as well. So there was some catcher swapping going on in Tampa Bay as well.
And then Chris Paddock to the Tigers, and I believe...
Yeah, Dobnak, I think, also is going with him from the Twins to the Tigers.
Yeah, I was forgetting who that was. But yeah, Paddock to the Tigers is good. We'll see how he gels into that rotation. And then Seranthony Dominguez gets traded from the Orioles to the Blue Jays. Last year, it was Seranthony Dominguez getting traded from the Phillies to the Orioles, and now it's Orioles to Jays. So literal, just different color bird, and also over the border.
Switch clubhouses the same day, which is why I said traded across the hall, meaning that the team that he was traded to is on the opposite side. Some of the most notable players involved with that was, ironically enough, in 2004, Doug Mankiewicz. As far as he was traded from the Twins to the Red Sox, and ultimately got a World Series ring out of it.
I think Doug Mankiewicz played for the Royals a few times in his journey.
Huh? Doug Mankiewicz.
Okay, let's see here. Baseball reference. He played for the Royals in 2006 after playing for the Nets.
Yeah, he had a brief stint with the Mets, a brief stint with the Royals, brief stint with the Yankees and the Pirates. Yeah, he kind of was a journeyman after being traded from Minnesota to Boston, because Boston did not re-sign him.
Yep. All right, and then I will start off
we now get to the second half of the High Heat and the NFL previews. This week we are doing the South divisions.
And I am on the AFC branch.
Yep, and I will have the NFC.
All right.
Let's go ahead and start with the AFC South.
All right. So here's my prediction. It's pretty half-assed, just like how I wrote it. My big prediction is the Texans and the Jaguars battle it out to see who wins the AFC South. There's a tie for first. Texans have neck and neck edge against the Jaguars, even if Christian Kirk has switched sides. Yes, Christian Kirk got traded to the Texans to slice off some of the salary that he would have been owed by the Jaguars. And Stroud, I feel like, will make a comeback in his junior season, I guess you could say, because last year was a sophomore slump. This year, he'd be a junior, right? Am I wrong? If we're talking like American high school.
He officially becomes a vet. He officially becomes a veteran at that point.
I think Stroud will probably show up this year. We'll see. He was definitely not there consistently last year, but he also got more new weapons to add on to his arsenal, and maybe he was trying to get used to that, and also just the new findings and discoveries that the defense has found to try to find holes in the O-line that Stroud is trying to be protected from. So
what scares me about the Texans is that they have a new left tackle protecting his blind side. They have a new left tackle protecting Stroud's blind side as Laramie Tunsil was traded from the Texans to the Packers. Then on top of that, I think that the support with wide receivers is good, adding Christian Kirk. But I think the Texans still hold on and win this division a little bit more outright, just simply because that defense is really good.
It is. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr.
You had Stingley at corner.
I was thinking Wilt for some reason, but instead of Will Anderson.
It's Will Anderson.
Making him feel old by saying an older man's name in Wilt. But anyways, to get through that first statement for tie for first, I think the Jaguars have the talent. The problem is, can they answer the call when needed? Can Fabio, as you call him,
Trevor
not
Lawrence,
not just wave his golden locks around like this dramatically? We'll see. I mean, they have Travis Hunter. Let's see how he plays. Let's see how long he lasts. If he lasts just a couple of weeks and then goes on the injured reserve, or if he shines out there and kicks asses and potentially becomes a rookie of the year for the AFC or just the whole entire league. Who knows? That's pretty bold,
Liam Cohen, it's Duval, not Duval. The emphasis is on the front, not the back.
Chip, and then for the last part of this, so the AFC South consists of Texans, Jaguars, Colts, and Titans. So my take on the Colts, you went from Joe Flacco and Anthony Richardson to Anthony Richardson saying, "Hey man, I need a break during the fourth quarter because I'm getting real tired of this shit right now." And then Flacco's like, "All right, I'll get up my lazy boy, put the popcorn away really quick in the pantry, and then come right in for you." Well, and yeah, so that happened last season. This season, you have Danny Dimes, which in this economy, it's Danny Dimes ain't worth a whole lot. It's more like pennies. I think the Colts adding Daniel Jones is kind of just like I don't know how to explain this well, but I think Danny Dimes is not the greatest quarterback alive. I think he's kind of pathetic, and he looks like he doused the ball in some type of oil and just slips the ball around, gets himself hurt. Looks like Wile E. Coyote out there sometimes, just not getting.
It looks like it's just an excuse for quarterback competition.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with the Colts, but I think they go in. They're a clear third. The Titans, we'll have to see what happens with the longer road ahead to recovery, because they just lost Will Levis to a shoulder in issues. But you do have Cam Ward, but we have seen in the past what has happened to those rookie quarterbacks that go into a new system that really isn't winning right now and is kind of rebuilding itself. Panthers, I'm looking at you. Anyways, that's all I have.
Talking with the Titans, it's more of in the Titans sense. It's the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and I think that they're still on that single step, or the first step. Now, for the NFC South, I'm going to do this a little bit more simply here in talking about some of the roles that each are going to have. The Bucs, they are the favorites. They are especially the favorites as long as they overcome the bumps that will ensue from the beginning of the season, starting without Tristan Wirfs with a knee issue, Chris Godwin recovering from an ankle injury, and rookie pass rusher David Walker out for the season. I think that Emeka Egbuka should play well in the meantime while Godwin recovers, especially because he will be learning from a future Hall of Famer in Mike Evans. The Atlanta Falcons. They are the team most likely to truly play spoiler for the division crown. Michael Penix now in his first full season as starter. And as long as Kyle Pitts can stay out of tight end Catraz and continued great production from Bijan Robinson and Drake London offensively, the defensive front will be the most critical point as to whether the Dirty Birds see the postseason or spend another mid-January sitting at home. And now to the Carolina Panthers. The dark horse of the division. Especially as Bryce Young showed as the season wrapped up last year that he could be a valid starter. Along with new weapons of Tenero McMillan and Hunter Renfrow, who has come out of retirement to go along with Adam Thielen and Xavier Leggett. Running back Chuba Hubbard, this offense is extremely intriguing. It will be up to the defense to push the rebuild the steps closer that are needed to see a playoff berth. And for those reasons in general, we have the top five going into the first power rankings under the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. This was back, I believe, in episode 147 or 148. Yeah, I think it might have been 148 where I mentioned this. But as far as that thought, Dean and said no. As I will be taking on the Carolina Panthers as my Super Bowl run team. Title for the series is to be determined at the moment. I'm still figuring out how I want to play along with a title that'll work. It is still under a working title. But I will be running this with the Carolina Panthers. And last but not least, the New Orleans Saints.
Speaking of the name for the Super Bowl race, so last year I had the Super Bear race. What if I made mine the Kiss of Death?
I mean, you as a Chiefs fan, that would almost make sense, but I'm just saying that you could probably come up with something a little more valid.
Viva Las Vegas. Anyways, I'm done interrupting you.
Stated. But the Saints, the bottom feeders of the division at this point, as they are starting from a metaphorical scratch. This is even with injury-prone Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and aging elements of Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan, and Demario Davis. The defense is going to be called on a lot to carry the load for the Saints, as Kellen Moore's offense as head coach is going to go through the growing pains of either Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck as QB1. Next week, we will be previewing the NFC or the Northern divisions. Ruckus will get the AFC North, and I will have the NFC North division. Shout out Chris Berman for that name. But I will have the NFC North. So, for all of you fans of the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers, Lions, Packers, Vikings, and Bears, tune in next week.
And if you love the AFC North, you're really going to hate me because I kind of have some meany things to say about the North. But at the same time, I'm a dirty Chiefs fan, so what the hell do I know?
Yes. The South is not a very competitive division. Unfortunately, the Texans are probably going to be the only team that's going to make it out of there. But for the NFC North, oh God, they are one of the better divisions in football. Just keep yourself in line.
Okay, whatever you say, Spennis.
No, we will move to our power rankings segment and the category in honor of Happy Gilmore 2 releasing this past weekend. We are ranking our top 5 movie sequels. And Ruckus, I am going to let you go ahead and get started.
All right, so top. So I'm gonna go down the list first. Number 5, I have Evil Dead 2. You might be, as a Evil Dead fan, you're probably like, okay, but wasn't Evil Dead 1 the same as Evil Dead 2 when it came to the intro? Kind of. It was more of a remake because the budget for the first Evil Dead that Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell were messing with didn't have that big of a budget, but Evil Dead 2 was kind of like the revamp of that. And then to that, going to Army of Darkness was pretty cool. And I just fell in love with Evil Dead. Like, I was obsessed with it. Another thing that I have at my list, number 4, Toy Story 2. I played that movie all the time as a kid. And also just loved the whole Owl's Toy Barn aesthetic and the added storylines to Woody himself, as he has the Prospector, I believe, Jesse, and then Bullseye, the horse, and then you have and then for Buzz Lightyear, it's pretty much just like that whole like Star Wars moment where Luke realizes that Darth Vader's his father, and he's like, and Buzz is like, Emperor Zurg, and Emperor Zurg's like, I am your father, and then he goes, no! They like kind of reenact that whole scene. That, and I also just, it was like one of those things I was kind of hinting at Toy Story being like, this ain't gonna last forever, because in the second one, they're like trying to do a yard sale, and the old toys are getting sold or whatever, and they're trying to save them. And then Toy Story 3, it's more darker than that, but I'll let you guys watch that one. Anywho, number 3, I have John Wick 3, as that's probably my favorite out of all the John Wicks I've seen so far. If you know me, you know that I'm a big John Wick fan. I literally have a pencil, so I bought an airsoft pistol a couple years ago in Japan, and they had a special edition John Wick 3 or 2 pistol from Terran Tactical Innovations. Shout out to John Wick. And then what comes with that is a pencil that literally says a bleeping pencil, because in the film there was a said thing that happened where John Wick killed someone with a pencil, and they put an emphasis on that in the beginning of the series. But John Wick 3 was my favorite. I liked the more fast-paced action, because in John Wick 3 he's pretty much just has a big bounty on his head and everyone wants to try and kill him and get the bounty for themselves. I thought that was good. And then number 2, I have The Dark Knight, because goddamn, I loved Heath Ledger as Joker.
Joker.
It's sad to see him go the way he did, but goddamn, he played his heart out on that role, even if it meant sacrificing his mental health for it. He did so well with it. The scene where he's in that like moving truck and he gets the bazooka out and tries to shoot at Bruce Wayne. I mean, Batman. Yeah, fun stuff. Dark Knight was good. I liked Dark Knight Rises as well, but Dark Knight was probably one of my favorites because of that opening scene where the clowns are at the bank robbing it as they're trying to do the Joker's, or help the Joker out. But next one, last but certainly not the least, I'm going with Spider-Man No Way Home as my number one. Mainly because it was the first movie I had seen in a while where I've seen it in theaters twice, including with family, not just me. And it was awesome because it brought Tobey Maguire to the stand with Andrew Garfield. But yeah, Tom Holland is a good guy, good Spider-Man, or good modern Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, But when the old lady saw Tobey Maguire come out of there, she was like, "Yes, thank you, thank God." Like everyone else was thinking, because Tobey Maguire is probably the most memorable Spider-Man, as of current
Is
day.
he the best Spider-Man?
Well, he made some shitty decisions. He just chose MJ over Bryce Dallas Howard or the daughter of the guy that Peter was paying the rent towards. Every fan page I follow for Spider-Man, they're always like, "Man, Peter really tried to choose MJ over that chick, because that chick actually cared about him more than MJ did." It's like, okay, now I think about it, sure, but back then when I was a wee lad, I was like, whatever, man. That was me. Anywho, go ahead, Spennis.
So, here's where I'm going with this. Number 5. I have Shrek 2. I have Shrek 2, which is one of the funnier ones, and I think the best one in the Shrek line. I mean, granted, the first one was good, but the second one did hold up very well, especially with Antonio Banderas debuting as Puss in Boots and his Zorro-like steez, style with ease at this point. Number 4, I have Spider-Man No Way Home here. And this, I'm going to say, my take as far as the best Spider-Man out of the 3 in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, I got to take Tom Holland. I think Holland plays it pretty much better than just about very many of the others. Though Tobey Maguire's a classic, I think Tom Holland kind of plays the character of which Peter in high school the best.
Especially when they do the lab scene in No Way Home, and they're like, "Wait, you just organically shoot webs? Like, how does that work?" Like, everyone in the theater was laughing their ass off whenever, because like it kind of could have been like a sexual innuendo. It could have also just been like a actual curiosity thing where it's like, "Oh, so you just organically shoot the webs?" How, where, what, why? Where Andrew Garfield's like, "Oh, I had to make a canister in there," and then Tom Holland's like, "Oh, I think for Tom Holland, he just had a canister or something similar to what Andrew Garfield had." I didn't pay too much attention to that part.
Number 3 for me. Like how you were talking about Buzz Lightyear with trying to do the whole "I am your father" thing with Emperor Zurg. I did the actual thing in taking Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Yes, I did it. The Empire Strikes Back. When I was a kid, I saw this and I didn't like it. Years later, while I was doing a research project for college, I found that, okay, this is the best Star Wars movie because you get all of the major pieces of the "I am your father," moment, the chopping of Luke's hand, Han Solo being frozen off, Leia captured by Jabba the Hutt.
Speaking of Star Wars, Spaceballs comes out next year.
The first ever appearance of of Yoda canonically. Wait, they're making another Spaceballs?
Yeah, I believe a couple months ago, Mel Brooks announced Spaceballs 2 coming next year.
Oh, I eventually am going to have to see that, but I'm more so wanting to kind of see that for how stupid they're going to be able to make this work. Because Pizza the Hut has already eaten himself to death. Who's the new villain?
I'm curious to see if they continue with that alien that comes out of one of the guests at the diner at the end. Like, I wonder what happens as a side plot to that, or how they replace John Candy's dog character, Barf.
Yeah, Bartholomew.
Because I don't think very many of those guys are still around in this earth.
John Candy's already gone.
Is the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kid still alive? The guy that plays Darth Helmet?
You mean, was that Rick Moranis? Fucking Rick Moranis? Rick Moranis? Rick Moranis, I believe, is still alive. Yeah, Rick Moranis is still alive. But beyond that, number 2, my first and only. Well, actually, the only Captain America movie to make this list. My second MCU movie, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This one is the one that pretty much divulges and breaks down kind of the future of what some of the things leading into Age of Ultron builds up. It completely puts Shield in an odd place. I did see that. I did see this one twice in the theater, and it was worth it. And for me, my number 1 is Top Gun Maverick. Yes, I did not watch the original Top Gun until just before I saw Top Gun Maverick.
Neither did I, to be honest.
I will say this. With this, we also find that Top Gun is a notable movie that is one of my favorites. Top Gun Maverick is there as well, but even the original Top Gun made its kind of won me over.
To me, Top Gun
really
Maverick.
Get into Tom Cruise as an actor.
Oh, I was gonna say Top Gun Maverick to me felt like a roller coaster, or like one of those very immersive rides, like Star Tours, like at Disney World or something like that. Like just something super immersive.
Oh yeah, and Top Gun Maverick, as far as especially a sequel, it is the longest gap between original release and sequel ever. And the 36 years. Dammit, it was well worth the wait for those that made their way through it. A 36-year wait, it was well worth it because Kaczynski did it right. Here were some movies that we also considered for this list. Both of us, and we're going to start with the both here. We both had an extremely goofy movie on our list as Max Goes to College.
Maxie!
Yeah. And then our second one, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Ooh. For me, that one, the introduction of Mantis and the dynamic between Mantis and Drax, that was hilarity.
That was my favorite one.
James Gunn at his finest.
That was my favorite one. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was super depressing.
That one was a very much more of a Rocket Raccoon movie than anything else. It just had everyone else in it. The Christmas special is really good, though.
I don't think I saw that, but I should go check that out.
Yeah, watch it around Christmas time. Ironically enough, just to tell you, it involves Kevin Bacon.
Not surprised. All right.
Some movies that I also considered were Captain America: Civil War and Avengers: Endgame.
I had Incredibles 2,
movies Ruckus,
and Madagascar 2, and Terminator 2, all with 2s in them.
Terminator 2, I think, I would have said this. Had you not had Evil Dead 2 in there, I would have thought Terminator 2 would have made it for you. I never watched Terminator, but I figured knowing Terminator 2 is such a good movie in its own right.
I think Terminator 1 was when, Terminator 2 is the one where he steals the guy's motorcycle, and he was like, "I need your clothes," because he was naked at the beginning, and then he gets the shotgun. And he's like, it wasn't Yippee-ki-yay. That's McClane in Die Hard.
That's Bruce Willis.
I think his was like Booyah or something.
Or it was obviously Schwarzenegger had the "I'll be back," the "Hasta la vista, baby."
That's what that was.
Those were, I think, those were, I think, the Terminator movies.
And then for Bruce Campbell in the Evil Dead series, it was Groovy from Bruce Campbell playing as I think it was Ash Williams. Yes, that's who it was. Ash Williams, the main character that Bruce Campbell plays. Moving on, we have our stud of the week.
Yep. And I will let you go ahead and take it away.
All right. So my stud for the week is Royals taking the weekend series against the Guardians to get more momentum in the wild card race, if that even exists in the Royals' future. We'll see. The dud, which is even more silly, knowing football and the craziness that comes with people barking up the wrong tree. Christian Wilkins gets kicked out of the Raiders organization due to a player being offended as he kissed the player's helmet. Or I believe it was head, one of the two. Either way, Christian Wilkins is kind of a cuckoo man, but who isn't at the Raiders organization?
Or even, as you were saying, who wasn't at Clemson at that point?
Well, he had Deshaun Watson.
But that's just you. Yeah. There were some Cocoa Puffs that they were cuckoo for. But
indeed.
My stud this week goes to notable Iowa State alums moving along in stages of life and love. Tyrese Halliburton proposed to his girlfriend and had gotten engaged. And Brock Purdy and his wife Jenna also had their first child this past week. And I'm very happy for both of them, because Brock Purdy has shown over the past couple of years that he has probably been the most relevant Mr. Irrelevant of all time. And Tyrese Halliburton, who previously a lot of people were saying that, oh, he's an overrated NBA player, has been played some of his best ball in the postseason. He may not have came away with an NBA Finals ring, NBA championship ring, but he did give the ring that counts bigger than basketball. And I in that consideration am absolutely all for it. My God. Going along with our dummy of the week is straight up the Cleveland Browns doing Cleveland Browns things. They decided to reveal their alternate helmet design out on Lake Erie. But this is not the reason why this translates into the dummy side. A photographer was trying to take pictures of this. And they got a little bit too far outside of where they could just to be able to keep their balance. So the photographer falls into the lake. Granted that they were able to secure it very well. He wasn't in the water for long and was rescued by an officer on a jet ski. But it's the Cleveland Browns doing Cleveland Browns things, and people having to resort to falling as they go through this launch. And Ruckus, I am sure there's another reason along with this that you mentioned as to why this is definitely the dummy of the week and a dub.
So, did you guys ever notice in that clip that the helmet reveal was sponsored by Dude Wipes? Think about that for a second. What is Dude Wipes? What's their whole purpose as a company? It's to make you not feel like your butt's on fire or because you left something behind. No. It's to get the rest of that stuff, and also just, it's Dude Wipes. Dude buy it, but ladies also probably buy it too. But I've had my share of Dude Wipes. They're pretty cool, but the problem is, even if they say they're flushable, most of the time that's not true. But either way, it's ironic that the Cleveland Browns, out of all teams, are sponsored by Dude Wipes. Because literally, my whole childhood, when it came to poop innuendos, it was taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. There's many other ones there too, but that was the main one. And for you to get sponsored by Dude Wipes is the funniest shit ever. It's almost like Raid Shadow Legends at this point. Whenever a video starts, it's like, this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and then everyone's just like, kill me. But I'll let you guys sit on that one and think about that in the comment section down below.
Officially found Ruckus's new, and we have officially founded Ruckus's new Super Bowl team, run, and title, sponsored by Dude Wipes.
There you go. It's funny because I sounded like I was being sponsored by Dude Wipes, and we are not sponsored by Dude Wipes. Legally sound, we are not sponsored by Dude Wipes. Anyways, Spennis, take us out before I cause any more ruckus than I already have.
This one was me. This one was definitely me. Just completely joking. It just went downhill in a hurry. That's going to do it for episode number 150 of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. For Ruckus, I am Spennis the Menace. And until the next one, hugs and hand pounds, everybody. Deuces.